Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Saturday evening, I nearly said Friday evening, then the days are just getting mixed up, aren't they? The last 48 hours or so have just been an absolute whirlwind for all of us. I think it is the game preview, Everton's final Premier League game of the season tomorrow away at Arsenal, kicking off at 4 o'clock. Of course, all the Premier League games kicking off at the same time tomorrow, with it being the final day of the season. And finally, this horrid season is coming to an end. We can put it behind us. We can forget about it. We can never, ever think about it again. We never have to think about the previous manager that was in charge and managed the majority of Everton's games this season. We never have to think about what happened last summer. We never have to think about the dreadful defeats, the dreadful results, the dreadful performances, and we never have to worry, well, hopefully, we never have to worry about relegation and being in a relegation battle again. Certainly not for this season. As I said, this season does come to an end tomorrow, but I think for a lot of Blues, it almost felt like it come to an end on Thursday night. Even if we are to win tomorrow, which would be fantastic, and I do think it's important that we go into this game with the mentality of winning, because ending a season on a positive result is always what you would want to do. I remember the last game of last season, which in one sense feels like it was yesterday, and in another sense feels like it was about 15 years ago. But obviously we were going into that game with very little to play for, and it was away at Manchester City at the Etihad. It was Aguero's leaving do, if you like. And although we went into that game with not very much to play for and with not very much hope or anticipation or excitement, it was still really disappointing and devastating to see us lose in the way that we did, and to see us capitulate in the way that we did as well. And I actually remember doing a review to that game, and the way I felt after it was much worse than the way I thought I'd feel even if we were to lose that game. So tomorrow is still very important, and it's important that the players go out and it's almost one last performance, I suppose. It will be the last performance for I dare say at least a couple of these players in an Everton shirt. And it's an opportunity to go out now with a weight off their shoulders. This is the first time these players have not had a ridiculous amount of pressure on their shoulders and weight on their shoulders for a long time, and that might work in our favour, that might work against us. Obviously, we're coming up against an Arsenal team that is still fighting for the top four. 3 or 4 weeks ago, this Arsenal team were nailed on to finish in the top four, and they've had a really bad certainly couple of weeks after winning 3 on the bounce. They've lost their last 2. They're currently sitting in 5th position. Tottenham, obviously arch rivals, sitting in 4th position, and there's 2 points that separate these two teams. Tottenham have got Norwich away on the final day of the season, which may be a difficult game, but I can't really see it being a difficult game. And if Tottenham are to win that game, then obviously Arsenal will not finish in the Champions League. Tottenham's goal difference is ridiculous as well, so even if Tottenham are to draw, they'll finish in the Champions League. But if Tottenham are to lose and Arsenal are to beat Everton, then they'll obviously tip them for that position. So Arsenal have still got something to fight for, albeit it's looking very unrealistic at the moment that they'll finish in the top 4 places. As I said, lost their last couple of games, lost last time out to Newcastle 2-0, in a woeful performance in that one. Lost to Tottenham in the North London derby 3-0. The week before that, and then before that they had 3 wins on the bounce, beating Leeds 2-1, West Ham 2-1, and Manchester United 3-1. And before that they were actually on relatively good form, beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge as well. But just the last couple of weeks they've absolutely capitulated and seem to have bottled what was almost a guaranteed Champions League qualification this season. But Arsenal will be going into this one with something to prove as well. They'll be wanting to end their season high and with a win, regardless of whether that means Champions League qualification or not. But as I said, it's a really mad game of football going into this, isn't it? Because I feel like a lot of us are almost just sort of sitting here and thinking, have we got another game of football tomorrow? As I said, this might be wrong of me to feel like this, but I feel the way I feel, and I can't help it. But it very much felt like the season ended and concluded in the perfect manner on Thursday night. And the reasons for that are because as I said, it happened in such a perfect way. We were 2-0 down. The referee was making woeful decisions. We come back, we bounced back, we got a goal back, we got a second goal back, and we won the game in the final 5 minutes. There was a pitch invasion. We'd guaranteed survival. You've seen the footage of the players in the dressing room after the game, and, you've seen Yerry Mina breaking the ceiling, and Richarlison, and, Frank Lampard celebrating with fans and stuff, and that just very much felt like the final conclusion of the story. And what I could only describe it as is that was the end of the film. That was the final scene. That was the sort of curtain close. This has been a ridiculously emotional film where there's been many downs, more downs than up, but now the season has ended on a big sort of up and a big sort of positive. And this Arsenal game is almost like the post-credit scene. If you're into Marvel films, every Marvel film, I think, has got a post-credit scene. This is what this Arsenal game feels like. The season's finished. The film's actually over. It's ended. We're all happy. We're all made up. We're all, relieved, I would say. Maybe not made up, but relieved about, the fact that we've managed to guarantee survival. And this Arsenal game is like the post-credit scene. What's this got to offer? And in typical fashion, with a post-credit scene, you want to be excited. You want to be happy. You don't want to come out the post-credit scene going, belt a film. Well, belt an end to the film. But the post-credit scene was shite. So, hopefully, we can end the season on a positive. Although I understand that for a lot of Blues, it'll be difficult to to find that emotion within them to, exert it on tomorrow's game. But I'm sure the away support will be absolutely unbelievable again. And in fact, it will be a party at the Emirates tomorrow, as I said in the review to the Crystal Palace game earlier on today, regardless of whether this is regardless of whether we should have been in this position. We all know we shouldn't have been in this position. We all know it's an absolute disgrace that this football club was fighting relegation. We all know it was an absolute disgrace for this football club to be fighting relegation. We all know that there's many people at this football club, be it players, be it board members, be it the owner, that need bouncing out the football club ASAP because they're not good enough and they haven't shown that they cared enough. But that doesn't mean that we can't celebrate and we can't be happy and we can't be relieved about what we all witnessed on Thursday night. And I'm sure that those travelling Evertonians tomorrow will have an absolutely wonderful day because it'll be the first time. And I've been recently to Watford, I've been recently to West Ham, I've been recently to Tottenham. It will be the first time that those 4,000 Evertonians, however many are travelling down to the Emirates, will be travelling on coaches and trains and buses to the game without the fear and the pressure of, if we don't win today, then we're further down the table and the drop's looking more realistic if we don't win today, and is this just an inevitability? They're travelling down basically thinking, we're just going to watch the Toffees play a game of football. That ultimately doesn't really matter. Now, yes, some people will say, well, it does matter because, the difference between finishing 16th and 17th is on the line. If Everton are to lose and Burnley are to win, I think they would go above us into 17th if I'm right in saying. Oh, no, they don't. Everton finished 16th, and I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong because we're on 39, Burnley are on 35. So even if Burnley is a win, they only go to 38. Same with Leeds. So we finished 16th irregardless. So there's no league position on the line. There's no, we're not going to finish higher than where we are now. I know Southampton are on 40 points, so maybe if we were to win, we could get to 43. Southampton have got Leicester away on the final day of the season, so I don't see Southampton picking up another point. So we could finish 15th potentially, which would be mad considering we only guaranteed survival on the penultimate game of the season, and we could end up finishing 15th. But as I said, those Everton fans travelling down to the Emirates tomorrow will be travelling down in high spirits and we'll be having an absolutely wonderful time, and I'm sure we'll be creating as much noise and as much support and atmosphere as they can when they're in that stadium as well. But it is important to understand that it's another game of football. It's important to understand that it's another game of football for Frank Lampard as Everton manager. I'm sure he'll be taking this very, very seriously. I don't think this is a game he'll be overlooking or he'll be thinking, don't worry about it, it's irrelevant. I'm sure he'll be thinking this is another game for us to go and get another 3 points. A win away to Arsenal would be massive. I know we won there last season when there was no fans in the stadium, but a win at the Emirates is very, very, very rare for Everton typically. So it would be absolutely massive if we were to, if we were able to achieve that. And, as I said, Arsenal over the last couple of games haven't been in very good form whatsoever. Sorry, they've lost their last two. Obviously, the last one being against Newcastle. And they've looked really, really, really poor in those games as well. It's not just like they've lost their last two and they've worked hard, or they've looked good, or they've been unlucky. They've lost their last two and they've been really, really, really poor. So, ultimately at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for us to go and get another big win, climb further up in the table, because I don't see Southampton getting anything on the final day of the season. Again, just make this season, make the end of this season even better than what we originally thought it was. Don't get me wrong, it's we all want Everton to win. And, we all, I'll never, ever go into a game of football not being asked about Everton to win. I always want Everton to win, and I always care about Everton and winning. And I know deep down full well that if Everton don't win tomorrow, or we lose in bad fashion, then I'll be absolutely gutted and I'll be absolutely fuming. But the reality is that I've never felt what I felt on Thursday night. I've had seasons where the season's been done by the penultimate game of the season, and you're going into the last game of the season and you're thinking, this doesn't really matter. And you're thinking, you want us to win, but it doesn't really matter. Last season's a perfect example, but then we lose and you're fuming. Even though you didn't think you would be fuming, you're fuming. But I just feel like this season's a bit different, and I'm not saying I won't be fuming if we lose, or I won't be upset if we lose, but I'm sort of just thinking, get this game out of the way and get this season out of the way. This is the game, the final game of the season. This is the game that after this, we can forget about what has been the worst season I've ever experienced as an Evertonian, yet has given me the best moments I've ever experienced as an Evertonian, which is mad, absolutely madness. But a moment that, although it's the best I've ever experienced, it's one that I hope I never, ever, ever have to go through ever again, and I would never want to go through it ever again. But if I could give everything I've got to feel how I felt when that final whistle went on Thursday, I would. So this is the just absolute madness of football. The absolute madness of football. Football is a contradictive game. Football is a game where one day you feel something and the next day you feel something totally different. And that is explained in that situation. But regardless, if we can go out and we can put a good performance in, we can battle, we can fight, we can show that desire, we can show a bit of quality about us. This may be the time for Frank Lampard to try something different, maybe bring Dele Alli in for his first start, give the likes of Anthony Gordon a rest, who's obviously exerted an awful lot in recent weeks, and, we don't want him picking up any unnecessary injuries or anything that, may keep him out for parts of pre-season and, harm his development as a player. So, this is the time when maybe Frank can be a little bit more experimental. Some people would say no, because Arsenal have still got to fight for Champions League, so Arsenal will still be coming out wanting to win the game, and we want to end the season on a positive, we want to end the season on a high. But I just can't wait to watch a game of football that Everton are involved in without the need to, be under massive stress and massive anxiety. As I said, don't get me wrong, I'll still be gutted if we lose, and I'll still be made up if we win. But when was the last time? Can anybody remind me when was the last time that we could actually sit down and watch an Everton game without feeling like everything is on the line, without the anxiety, without the the upset, without the sheer just stress? I even think back to when the other fellow was manager and we played Arsenal early on in the season, the reverse fixture of this game, and I can't even remember the date of that game, but it was in January, early January. I've just googled it and it's not bloody shown up. Hang on, I'll get it up now. December 6th of December, before Christmas. The 6th of December before Christmas, and that was still a game that we watched, and obviously Damari Gray scored in the final couple of minutes, and we were all, well, certainly me, and I seem to remember at the time, everybody was under an immense amount of stress and anxiety and nervousness then. That was December, that was before Christmas. Inky says Norwich 2-0 win, when was that? September? Early September. Was that the last time we were able to watch an Everton game without an immense amount of anxiety and nervousness and just worry? And this now, tomorrow, is the next time we'll watch an Everton game without all of that. And that doesn't mean, we don't want us to win. That doesn't mean we won't be upset if we lose. But it will just be nice to watch a game where you're not sitting there debating that the results will be the end of the world at the end of it. And that is just showing and telling of how bad this season has been. And it's been an absolute disaster of a season. And that's why I can't wait for it to be over. I can't wait until 7 o'clock, 7:30 tomorrow evening to just put this season behind us and be able to move on from it, because it has just been an absolute nightmare. And listen, it's ended in an unbelievable way, a relieving way, in a way that we all are absolutely made up and you know, as I said, relieved about what we felt on Thursday night. And it's ended with us, you know, having a manager who loves this football club, cares for this football club, understands what it means to manage this club, understands what it means to be a fan of this club, you know, is making the players understand what it means to play for this football club. Case in question, Alex Iwobi, case in question, Michael Keane, case in question, Mason Holgate. You can see Frank Lampard is drilling into these players how important it is to play for this football club and how much it should mean to play for this football club. It's being proven on the pitch. And I just can't wait for the summer. I just can't wait for Frank Lampard to have a summer transfer window, do the business he needs to do with Kevin Thelwell, you know, move on the players that need to be moved on, build the squad, and then go again in the Premier League next season and make sure we never, ever, ever have to be put through the torment that we've put through this season. But this game tomorrow, as I said, it very much just feels like the post-credit scene of this mad film that we've all witnessed over the last 5 or 6 months. And although I'll want Everton to win, and although I'll still be watching and screaming for Everton to win, and although I'll still be absolutely fuming at the referees when they inevitably make a dreadful decision, I'll be able to watch it with a lot less stress and a lot less anxiety than I've been able to watch an Everton game for the best part of probably 4 or 5 months, which you know, just tell you how bad this season has been, but also I think is a good thing for us to be able to watch and just be stress-free. But as I said, having said that, you know, Frank Lampard is a professional. These players are professionals, and they will want to go out and they will want to end the season on a high. And it would be amazing if we did go out and get the 3 points. Not only could we finish 15th in a position higher than what we are now, but it would also be amazing for those, you know, travelling Blues. You know, I've been to a few away games this season. I've been to, I think, 5 or 6, something like that. There's Blues there that have been to every single away game. Every single away game. And they're not cheap, by the way. You're talking £100 before you've even left the city. Then you've got prices in service stations. You've got prices that wherever you get to, you've got, you know, if you're buying ale or if you're buying drinks or refreshments or whatever, these are trips that are costing probably most people upwards of £200, £250 each time. And there's people there that have religiously been to 18, 19 away games this season, and they've seen us win twice. So this isn't just the case of, it doesn't matter this game, go out and just see what happens, and if we lose, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal in the context of the season, because the season's over for us now, and we had our conclusion on Thursday night. But these players still should be thinking, hang on, it's not like the fans have turned around and gone, we're safe now, so we're not going to Arsenal, forget it, you know, we're not turning up. There'll still be thousands and thousands of Evertonians that, even though we're safe now, are still going to travel all the way up to the capital of the country to go and watch them, and to go and support them, and to go and, you know, make it a party, and make it an unbelievable day out. And these players should be thinking, we've got to give something back to them, because for, you know, as I said, 19 times this season, thousands of people have spent upwards of, you know, £250, £200 each go. You do the math on that. And they've seen us win twice, Brighton and Leicester more recently. And what a way to end the season if we have what we have on Thursday night, and then we go and beat Arsenal tomorrow, who are a very, very beatable team, by the way. Yes, they're sitting 5th in the Premier League. They've won 21 games this season, which is a good tally. Drawn 3, lost 13. And they're on 66 points, as I said, 2 points off of Tottenham at the moment, who are on really good form. Tottenham won the last 2, Arsenal lost their last 2. But, you know, like I said, they've lost to Newcastle last time out, lost to Tottenham the week before that. Obviously lost to beat Leeds and West Ham a couple of weeks before that. So, you know, not so long ago, they lost to Southampton as well. I think that might have been the last time Southampton picked up any points in the Premier League. So, it's not a game that we're looking at and should be thinking this is beyond the realms of possibility. This is a winnable game. This is a very, very winnable game. And if we go and apply ourselves in the right manner and we set up in the right way and we battle like we've been battling and we defend as well as we know we can defend, then we can definitely get something out of this game. Whether it's a win or not is a different question, but we can definitely get something out of this game, and that should be the target for me. Going into tomorrow, it's not a case of the season's done now, so we forget about this one. We as fans will be able to watch without any real nerves or anxiety, but that doesn't mean that we won't want us to win, and that doesn't mean that the players shouldn't want to win. Because as I said, if these players have given us anything back, yes, they've given us Thursday, and Thursday was unbelievable, and they battled and they worked hard and they picked themselves up and they come back from 2-0 down. Excellent. These players now need to give another away performance to those away fans that travel up and down the country every week to watch us. 2 away wins this season is abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And there's been a lot of things that have been abysmal this season, but our away record truly has been abysmal, and those fans deserve more, and that is enough for me, enough of a reason for the players to go out and act as if they're not safe tomorrow, act as if this game does depend on the season and this game is important. And I know that's hard because it isn't. Not that it isn't important, it isn't dependent on the season, but that's how these players should be acting, and I think that's how Frank Lampard will ensure that as well, because he's a professional. Look, he managed and played for Chelsea for a long time. Chelsea have got a London rivalry at London. He won't be wanting to go out and just, be there and see what happens. He won't be wanting to experience, what we experienced at the Etihad on the final day of last season. He'd be wanting to go out and prove a point. And if Frank Lampard can stop Arsenal from finishing the Champions League, albeit it would mean Tottenham finishing the Champions League, then I think he would want to do that. They're beatable. They're simply beatable. And they've got some good players. They've got some good players that on their day are fantastic. The likes of Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Martinelli, I'm a fan of. Eddie Nketiah, who's been on a good goal scoring form recently. Smith Rowe. Obviously, they've got Ramsdale there, Thomas Partey. They've got a couple of good players, and players that are hot and cold, but when they're on their day, they can perform. Players like Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Ben White, Granit Xhaka, who is very hot and cold. He's either very good or very bad. Lacazette, and we know the squad that Arsenal have got. We know the facilities that Arteta has got to offer. But it's important that we go out and we take this game seriously, because although in the grand scheme of the season, it's not be all and end all, whatever the result is, because we're safe now, and we're not dependent on the final day. Thank fuck, by the way, we're not dependent on the final day. Imagine the anxiety and the nerves we'd all have going into this game, needing a result, needing a performance, needing a win or a draw. It would have just been absolutely unbearable. But that doesn't mean that we still shouldn't go out and perform like our lives depending on it, because these players should perform in every game, regardless of the situation, regardless of the position. These players should perform in every game like they need to win. Every game should be a cup final, because when we've acted like that this season, we've done really well. And if we'd have acted like that for the entirety of the season, we wouldn't even be in a position where we're talking about, celebrating surviving in the Premier League. So, yeah, it's important. Yes, it will be difficult. Yes, I understand that a lot of Blues will be watching this one, probably with a pint in their hands, thinking, just get me through this 90 minutes so we can forget about this season. And I'm very similar in that fashion. But it's a game of football that we can win. And it's certainly a game of football we can get something out of. And if we can get something out of it, then we absolutely should. Because, as I said, these are a team that at the moment are in a bit of free fall, to be honest. I've been watching a couple of Arsenal fans and channels and stuff talking about the football club at the moment, and there's a lot of Arsenal fans that aren't happy with their manager. There's a lot of Arsenal fans that feel like Mikel Arteta has failed this season. So if we can go and put that final nail in that coffin and confirm their failure, so what some Arsenal fans would say it's not a failure, but others would, then that's what we should be doing. And as I said, the players should be going out on one final sort of hurrah, if you like, of, we know this has been a shit season, we know this has been terrible, we know we haven't been good enough, but we've shown in the last couple of games that we can work, we can put results together, and we can battle, and tomorrow's an opportunity to do that. Anyway, let's run through my predicted starting 11, and then we'll get into some of the live comments before we do finish up. If you are enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. does only take a second. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We recently hit 6,700 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. And I thank every single one of you for all of your support. It has been unbelievable this season. The channel has grown so much, and despite it being an absolutely dreadful season with nothing much to shout about, I really do appreciate you all sticking by me and getting into the channel and getting in the comments and leaving likes and subscribing and stuff. And hopefully we'll be able to grow this channel much more over the course of next season. Hopefully we'll have a lot more positive things to talk about as well. Who knows, maybe we'll do a less depth. But anyway, let's get into the predicted starting 11. And in goal, I'm going to go for Jordan Pickford. Now, I know there might be a couple of people saying, well, give Begovic a go in there or throw Lonergan in for the sake of it. But for me, this is still a Premier League game of football. You know, ultimately, this is still a game of football that we can win. And if we can win it, we should be looking to win it. You know, this is still a game of football that we want to take seriously. And we want to be seen to be taken seriously as well. You know, we don't want to be seen to be looking at this game and sort of taking the piss with it or acting as if it doesn't matter, because it does matter. So, for me, Jordan goes in goal. You know, as I said, he went a little bit under the radar, to be honest with you, on Thursday night, didn't he? Because he made the save at 2-1, which is absolutely impeccable. Absolutely impeccable. And had he have not made that save, they'd have scored that. It would have been 3-1 and it would have been game, set and match at that point. So, Jordan has been phenomenal this season. As I've said before, and I will say it again, if it wasn't for Jordan Pickford, I don't think Everton would have been in a position to fight relegation. I think we would have been down. So Jordan, you know, obviously deserves the start. And you know, as I said, for me, he absolutely gets in there. Whether or not it'll be his last game in an Everton shirt is something that we'll discuss in due course. I'm not discussing it now. But Jordan is starting. Back line. Interesting on this, because obviously you've got Ben Godfrey who'll be fit hopefully again for this game. I don't think Yerry Mina will be available. To be honest with you, he'll probably be at Goodison Park breaking roof tiles, knowing Big Yerry. But for me, I'm going to go with Vitaly Mykolenko at left back. I'm going to go with Seamus Coleman at right back. And I'm going to go with... I don't know, actually. No, do you know what? I'm going to go with Mykolenko left back, Keane and Holgate in the centre, and I'm going to go with Ben Godfrey at right back. I don't know whether 2 games in 3 days will be too much for Seamus Coleman, especially given how well he played on Thursday and how much he exerted on Thursday. A lot of people saying Seamus Coleman's last game is a toughie. We are going to do a keep or sell video over the next week or so after obviously the Arsenal game is done. I don't think this will be Seamus Coleman's last game as an Everton player. I don't. Now, the only way I could see this being the case is if Seamus Coleman was to want to retire, which he may well do. He may well look at this season and think, I've given a lot. It's ended the way it has. It's a great way to go out considering the pitch invasion and stuff. I'm done. A little bit like Leighton Baines did. But if he doesn't do that, I think Seamus will be given a new contract. And I don't particularly have anything against that. Seamus Coleman is in a very different situation to John Joe Kenny or Fabian Delph or Cenk Tosun or any of these. Seamus Coleman is an Everton legend. Seamus Coleman has dedicated his career to Everton. I've got no problem with Seamus being given a contract extension, a further year, a further 2 years. My problem is that contract extension doesn't mean he starts every single game in those years. If Seamus Coleman is in and around Everton next season and a squad player and Nathan Patterson becomes our number 1 right back, no problem with that. What better player for Nathan Patterson to learn his trade from, learn about the club and how important this club is to us as fans. What better person for him to learn all of that from than Seamus Coleman? My problem isn't with Seamus Coleman. My problem is with Everton's reliability on Seamus Coleman and the fact that we all know he hasn't been able to perform the way he used to because of his age and injuries and stuff, and the club haven't recognised that. That's my problem. My problem isn't Seamus Coleman being here, and the Seamus Coleman situation isn't like any other. It's not giving another contract to another player for the sake of it, waste of money. This is very, very different. If Seamus was to be given another 1 year contract extension and become our backup right back, I'd have no problem with it whatsoever. And as I said, I don't know if any of you have seen the video on Twitter, social media and stuff. We put it up today. It's actually on the Tunnel Vision video that Everton put out. It's Frank Lampard getting a picture with Seamus Coleman's children, and he says to Seamus Coleman's children, "Your daddy is the best man I've ever met in my entire life." And he also grabbed Seamus Coleman up in the changing room in front of all of the players and all of the staff and says, "This man is the best man I've ever met in my entire life." And that made me cry in the pub last night, to be honest with you. It made me tear up in the pub last night. So, as I said, Seamus, I don't think this will be his last game as an Everton player, unless he decides to retire. I don't think he'd want to leave the football club and go and play for somebody else. And as I said, if he doesn't want to retire, I think he'll be offered a new contract either way. Let's be honest, he'll be offered a new contract by the club, and rightly so. But yeah, it might be because he might do what Leighton did and ultimately turn around and say, "No, do you know what? I'm out now. I want to retire." But hopefully not, because I think he'd be a good role model for Nathan Patterson, and also he'd be a good second. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you have Seamus Coleman in an Everton team and you play him, you don't play him for 4 or 5 weeks and then you play him, he will very typically put an unbelievable performance in that game. The problem Seamus finds is when he's having to play week in, week out, game in, game out. That's when he struggles with the consistency. Seamus Coleman in the team every now and then as a backup, I'd have no problem with it whatsoever. So I'm actually gonna go with John Joe at right back. It might be John Joe's last game in an Everton shirt. It may well be John Joe's last game in an Everton shirt. But if it is, it is. If it isn't, then it isn't, I suppose. But I just think somebody's just asked me about Seamus Coleman's contract. I'm just trying to get up when his contract was. He signed a 1-year extension till the end of June 2023. So yeah, he's still got another year on his contract, but he will probably be offered an extra year because that typically is how it works. But regardless, his contract isn't up this season, so it's not a need for a new contract. So yeah, it won't be Seamus Coleman's last game in an Everton shirt. It won't. But yeah, I just think for this game, I just don't know whether, given what he gave on Thursday, I don't know whether he'd be able to give that again tomorrow. So I'm going to go John Joe Kenny. Sorry, not John Joe Kenny. I'm going to go Ben Godfrey at right back with Mason Holgate, Michael Keane and Mikalenko behind him. Midfield, I'm actually going to go with Abdoulaye Doucouré, Dele and Alex Iwobi. Andre Gomez, for me, has played his last game in an Everton shirt, or at least should have played his last game in an Everton shirt. Again, he was awful against Brentford. He was awful the other night. And he was taken off for Dele, who ultimately come on at half-time and absolutely changed the game and was fantastic. Obviously, Dele has got a rivalry with Arsenal. It would be almost written in the stars, should we say, for Dele to play in this game, start in this game, have a worldie, maybe score the winner and be the player that, destroys Arsenal's hopes to finish in the top 4 and gifts Tottenham the Champions League this season. That would be very sort of apt, if you like. But that's not the reason he's in the team for me. The reason he's in the team has got nothing to do with his rivalry with Arsenal or his relationship with Tottenham. The reason he's in the team is because he come on Thursday night and he changed the game and he was unbelievable, and he hasn't had a start for Everton yet. And he hasn't been given that opportunity, but when he was given the opportunity to play 45 minutes the other day, he was the difference maker, and he deserves that game now. Plus, as I said, Gomez hasn't been doing much. Alan doesn't really seem fit. I just think it's right to give Dele that opportunity to start. Alex Iwobi in there as well. Again, absolutely no issue with him. He was fantastic the other night, and he's been fantastic for a long time. He's been brilliant for the last 5, 6, 7 weeks, hasn't he, Alex Iwobi? And I think he's one of those names. He's one of those players now where he's almost first name on the team sheet. And then Abdoulaye Doucouré next to him as well, because let's be honest, he's going to go in there. I would like to see Tom Davies featured in this game. It'd be nice to see Tom Davies before the end of the season again. Whether or not we will get to see that, I don't know, because, again, I think if he was fit enough, he might have come on in place of Andre Gomez instead of Dele the other day. So whether or not we'll see Tom or not is to be seen, but I'd quite like to see him come on as a substitute and, put that shirt on again before the end of the season. And then front three, I'm actually going to go with Damari Gray, Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the front three that started the season for us, and the front three that As I said, had the most success for Everton, and that's nothing against Anthony Gordon. That's not because Anthony Gordon hasn't been good enough or Anthony Gordon isn't good enough. Anthony Gordon has been one of maybe 3 players this season that if we hadn't had, we would not have been in a position to survive Premier League in the Premier League. We'd have been down. Anthony Gordon has picked this team up and dragged us through so many difficult times with his desire, with his commitment, with his energy, with his ruthlessness, with his quality, with his ability to take players on, with his ability to worry defenders and make defenders think twice about making a challenge or throwing themselves in. And his love for the football club, his care for the football club, his passion has been something that has been vital in uniting this fan base. Same with Richie, same with Jordan Pickford, Seamus Coleman, I think, as well. I just think Anthony deserves a rest now. Again, he probably won't want to rest, and he'll probably sit there and say, no, I want to start, I want to play in this game, I want to have an impact in this game. But we've seen Demarai Gray get a rest over the last couple of games or so. I think Anthony maybe deserves a little bit of a rest now as well. Maybe bring him on with half an hour to go, 20 minutes to go. But I think giving him that time to sit on the sidelines and watch, nothing against his performances, or it's not a dropping him, it's just giving him a well-deserved and well-earned rest now that we're not in that fight anymore. And then, as I said, Dom, whatever his future may be, he's written himself in the history books of Everton Football Club with that goal the other night. And yeah, I think again he'll want to go out and he'll want to put another great performance in. He was great the other night, not just his goal, he was brilliant, and I'm sure he'll want to go out and do that again. Richarlison, again, whatever his future will hold, I'm sure he'll want to go out and give everything and battle and work hard and fight as he has done. Again, he's another one of them players that if it wasn't for him, I think we'd be down by now. His desire, his commitment, his passion. And then Demarai Gray, who come on and again made the difference on Thursday, put the cross in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal, and ultimately was very, very good when he was called upon. Will we see some of the younger players? Maybe we'll see them come on. Maybe we'll see the likes of Lewis Dobbin back in the squad again. I don't know, but I would like to hope that I'd like to hope that we can go out and get something out of tomorrow's game, because it'd be a nice way to end what has been a ridiculously dreadful season. And although people would say, but we ended it on Thursday, but this is the last game of the season, so it would be a nice way to end it then, wouldn't it? Eugene says, who's been your player of the season? We're going to do a season player ratings as we did last season. We'll do it again midway through next week, obviously after we've done the review to the Arsenal game, and we'll go through player of the season, young player of the season, all of that. So I'm not going to give that up now, but we will be doing that next week. So there you go, look. We're going to finish it there then. Final game of the season. Thankfully, we can put this season behind us. Thankfully, we can forget about this season. As I say, I just want to say a massive thank you from behalf of me for all of the support on the channel over the course of the last season. I know it's been difficult. I know it's been hard, watching this football club. But I want to say thank you all so much for everybody that's got involved, watched the videos, watched the channel, got involved in the comments, liked, subscribed, the new subscribers, the old subscribers. Just thank you all so much, and let's hope that we can end it all tomorrow with a positive. Let's hope we can end it all with a win, and let's all just look forward to being able to watch an Everton game where we're not sitting on the edge of our seats, biting our nails, scared shitless about what the outcome is going to be. Let's just enjoy watching an Everton game and actually not being stressed or worried about it. But there you go, look, we are going to finish it there. Then if you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Massive thank you to everybody for watching as in a live stream. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. If you watch this YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below and we'll get involved with as many of them as we can. We'll be back with the instant match reaction and the play ratings tomorrow, so don't forget to look out for those. Jack the lad says, top man Cam, thank you lad, thank you very much. But yeah, we'll be back for them, so look out for those. Big thanks for watching. Come on, let's finish this awful season on another positive. Up the toffees, get in. See you later.